Good morning. Good morning. It's 10:30 on Tuesday. And this is the weekly energy report. I know normally we do them on Mondays at 11 if you are somebody that likes to attend live. But this week, I actually had the honor of being asked to I guess it's like one of my clients had a work retreat for her company, and she wanted me to come and do or facilitate and lead a vision board workshop for the folks that work for her, which was really super cool because she leads a very different kind of in a very different kind of way, which I absolutely love. And it was such an interesting way that she put it. She said every other year we do one that's heavy on corporate content and light on self-care, and then the opposite, we flip it, where we're heavy on self-care and kind of light on the whole what are we doing company wise. So what I loved about that is this year I got to support them as they are doing their self-care year, which was so lovely. And we had so much fun, and it was so great. And it also brought up some things for me in the sense of like expectation, because I hadn't done, I mean, as we're kind of coming out of this, I know everybody feels like, oh, we're back to normal, everything's cool, la la la. But I think as we all went through this kind of collective experience over the last 2 or 3 years, good morning, Rose. Um, Getting back to what we see as normal in a way that feels good for us may take a little longer. For some, it may be like that. For some, it may take longer than whatever. But so yesterday, I have not taught a class in person in 2.5, almost 3 years, since March of 2020. Like literally, I remember the last time I was working, doing in-person work was the day before they shut everything down here in Tennessee. And it felt so good to be with folks and lead a vision board workshop for them. And I loved it so much. And it inspired me to have some ideas that I'm excited about for next year. So just watch that. But the other thing was, as I was driving over there, I kind of had all these expectations of, will they have this wonderful transformational experience? And and I wanted to have them have all these great outcomes and stuff. But then I realized, if those didn't happen or they didn't happen the way that I wanted them to, then what I would be upset. I would feel maybe like a failure. I would be upset. Well, maybe weren't getting what I was saying or whatever. But in reality, having that kind of attachment to an outcome of the situation, like how you want it to go exactly and the kind of response you want to see exactly, it it almost is a recipe for creating your own suffering, so instead it was funny, I went in the bath, excused myself, and went into the bathroom to kind of chill for a minute. And I did, like, I always think to myself, I forget who I was reading, I think it might have been Dr. Hamilton's, one of his works, and it was about how just shake it off, like the Taylor Swift song. And I went in the bathroom and I just shook all of that off, and I set an intention for the class to just receive what they needed in the best way that was for them, and that whatever spirit needed me to follow, I would do that. And I had gone in literally with a curriculum. I went in with like my 8 pages of stuff for them and worksheets and all the things. And I did not intend to do a meditation. I led this beautiful meditation on the fly. I mean, not to toot my own horn, but it was really lovely. And I have to say, it was such a beautiful workshop that I'm looking forward to kind of distilling that into something that I can offer outside of a private, like that was a private setting where it was only for the people that worked for this one client's company, and maybe doing it more of a I'm inviting everybody to it kind of a thing. So I have to kind of I'm still downloading and processing from that, but it was so beautiful. And the outcome though that I wanted to share here basically is, don't, especially with the holidays coming up, because I mean, we all have these ideas of how we want our holidays to go, especially if you're like watching the ads and the Hallmark movies and now the CBS movies and the Lifetime movies and the Netflix movies and all of because everybody's now on the holiday movie bandwagon kind of thing, and how we're supposed to have our Christmases or whatever it is, Hanukkah, or what Yule, whatever your holiday is that you celebrate, how that's supposed to look on paper, when in actuality, that's never how it really looks. So maybe if instead we kind of stay in the moment, and instead of having this idealistic expectation for outcomes, instead, if we can say, you know what, my goal is to feel good, because it's all about how we feel. The goal is to feel good. What would make me feel good in this moment? In this moment, not for the next 6 to 8 weeks. In this moment, what am I looking for? If I can't have it right away, what is really the feeling behind that? And what can I have in place of it? So it might be like when you think about, you know, what do I want for lunch today? And it might be like today it's kind of dreary here in Nashville. It's dreary and cold and rainy. And so I really would love something kind of warm and cozy. Like, what can I have? Well, I would love to have like this glorious chicken tortilla soup that I make. But right now I'm following a paleo diet for health purposes. And so I can't have beans, which is really just like a bummer because that's like the bulk of that soup. And so I thought to myself, okay, what is it about that soup that is the feeling I want to give myself? Okay, I want to feel cozy and warm and kind of like that hygge lunchtime experience. What might make that good for me? Well, let's see. I do have some chili that I made that's paleo chili. Maybe I can have that because that's warm and cozy. Or maybe I could have some of the chicken soup that I canned the other day. Like that's warm and cozy. Like what we want to do right now as we kind of navigate the next 6 weeks of like because holidays are coming and just kind of stay in the moment and feel really good within ourselves while we're processing the interactions because yes, it's an individual thing for us, our own spiritual journey as we're traveling along the backdrop of the collective, and part of that is interacting with family sometimes. um and really what do I want to choose right now? So it's really looking at the situation saying, okay, well, maybe your situation is great, you can have all the things and the feelings and that's great, but we don't want to attach to that outcome. Well, what we want to do is kind of figure out what is the underlying feeling I want to experience over the next 6 weeks, and then where can I find that in the moment right now to kind of hold it in, okay? And so that's kind of what the newsletter is on, and that's what I did yesterday because I couldn't control whether or not these ladies had this enormously wonderful transformation experience exactly how I wanted them to have it. I couldn't control what all the things were that they were gonna look like. I brought a big old bunch of magazines, and they didn't even touch one of the kinds of magazines, and I was like, "Oh, that's like my favorite magazine," but apparently they don't like it. Now, if I had attached myself and took it personally, they don't like my magazines, I would be like, I would toss out the baby with the bathwater. But when I went in the bathroom and shook all that off, and I just set the intention of everybody having this wonderful, glorious experience, that's when I kind of let it all go. That's when I say let go, letting go of the expectation, and just really kind of saying, what feeling do I want to generate? What feeling do I want to share with these folks? And hopefully we can create that circle of energy for them, that safe container for them to kind of come together with and tap into their inner selves and bring forth some stuff that's really helpful for their own spiritual journey. And lo and behold, at the end of the workshop, one of the gals was like, I totally expected this to be really boring because she said she saw on the itinerary vision board workshop and she was like, oh God, one of these like cheesy things again. And instead, she said, you know what? It totally got clarity for me. Like everybody found this really great clarity around the idea of what they wanted to feel in that moment. And the clarity in a lot of the cases was they were like, wow, I didn't realize that word meant this for me. And now this gives me a guide of how I can create that in my life, which I loved for them. That was exactly my intention, was for them to glean whatever they needed for the support. If I had attached all this other stuff to it, even though they had all these great, wonderful experiences, I would have gone home thinking, oh, well, I didn't do my job. But instead, when I did detach from what I wanted and I just set an intention for the group, that was where the magic happened. So understand that going forward into the holidays, especially, and just in general in life, when we kind of like start finding ourselves trying to control outcomes, trying to control how things and people respond to what we want, like we kind of give away our power because we're giving up feeling good based on what someone else or another situation is doing versus saying, where can I find the emotion that I want to have within the situation, and where can I let go of things to allow other folks to show up in a way that is authentic to them, and I can be authentic too. So that's kind of the message that I got this week from Spirit, and I wanted to share it with you because I think it's super helpful. So let's pull some cards. I hope everyone's doing good. Let me just quick run through saying hello. Hello, Rose. Hello, Sharon. Hello, Desiree. Hello, Tori. Hello. And I apologize if my pronunciation of your name is all over the place, but blogger summon. um, and hello. Hey, Rebecca. Rebecca out in the northern tundra, I believe, Montana. Thank you. She says, sipping coffee and listening to some knowledge, dropping pearls. Actually, Spirit's dropping pearls. Okay, so welcome. So if you're here with me live, go ahead and comment. You can kind of comment in the chat. That's to the, I'm looking at the screen, it's to the right here. If you are watching on Facebook Live or the replay on the replay on YouTube or Facebook, you can comment below. And please, if you are on my YouTube channel, make sure you subscribe. Make sure that you click the thumbs up so that you know when we go live. And just like, let's get to it, I guess. So what does Spirit want us to know for this week within, I guess, that kind of container of, it's really challenging sometimes to let go of control of what we want the outcome to be. So what is some medicine that we can lean into that would be helpful in us navigating from that space of, I'm going to let go and surrender, because we are simultaneously both saying, here's my will, here's what my desire is, but here also is my willingness to say what I want and release the how. That's really what it comes down to. Okay. Let's see. What medicine do we need to know to support us as we do that this week? This one is first. Upside down cards again. Let's see. We have this. And this one. It's so funny. It was so funny because this morning I thought to myself, what if we get Turkey Spirit as we head into Thanksgiving? And there he is. Not just in my freezer, but right here in the spread. So every card for today is an upside down card. What that means, if you're new to me. Oh, by the way, if you're new to me, I'm Soul Coach Michele. I just kind of jumped right in. My New York took over and I jumped right in and didn't introduce myself. Soul Coach Michele. I am a co-creative life coach and your friendly neighborhood super woo. And that's and this channel is dedicated to supporting you on your spiritual and your manifesting journey. And so if you have questions or whatever, as far as like what I do, my website is in the description. It's soul, SOUL, coachstudio.com because I named it studio because it's a place to co-create the life that you want to have. So anyways, let's talk to Spirit right now and go ahead and give you an understanding of upside down cards. So upside down cards, when I do a reading, is not like, oh my God, everything's going to shit in a handbasket or hell in a handbasket, alliteration, right? To me, when you see an upside down card, it means I didn't know that. It means I forgot that I knew that, and thanks for the reminder. Or it means I knew that and I just don't wanna, which generally is just bringing your awareness to your resistance. So let's start with our first one. So in the sense of, that whole simultaneously expressing our will and our desire for something, for either like what we would like to see, in connection with also surrendering to the universal idea of, if my job is what I want and why I want it, and the universe's job is the where, when, and especially the how do we navigate that? Especially right now when we probably want our houses or our homes and our lives to kind of maybe reflect this idea, this perfect idea of the holidays. And in reality, we just don't have the time to do all the things. We maybe are not feeling it. Maybe this year, because of how we feel now, we want to do different things that buck up against tradition. And some family members or friends that are like family might not be super happy with you doing that, but it makes you feel good. And so how do we navigate that energy where we are saying yes where we mean yes, no where we mean no, especially around this whole idea of letting go of expectations that we have of situations and what other people might do, while also allowing other folks, or allowing rather the universe to kind of come in and support us at the same time, where it's, we have intention and but we want to let go of the outcome of whatever that intention. We want to stick more to the vibration versus like our idea of what that is. So I love this upside down card, whale spirit. Trust the great mystery. So that's a big message right there. I mean, I think what it is since we are ultimately talking about control, and like how a lot of times when we talk about having expectations of outcomes or being attached to an outcome, it's about controlling something. Because if I can control what's out here, then I feel better in here, versus saying I can control what's in here, so it doesn't really matter what's out there. When I can control my emotions, my feeling, my vibration, how I think about something or situation, that's where the control does come in, because that's the only thing you can control. And then how you see it is going to change based on how you navigate this. But if we depend on looking at the outside world and expecting it to change to make us happy, we're not going to be happy in the way that we want all the time. Because even if, say, you had the best mashed potatoes on Thanksgiving and they were so good and so wonderful, and the person who brought them, you were just so appreciative, and you thought to yourself, oh, I can make these. The next time you have them, maybe you forget an ingredient. Or if you're like my grandma, she used to give her recipes out. People would be like, oh, you make the best, this, that, or the other. And she would give the recipe, but leave out an ingredient. And people would be like, why doesn't it taste like hers? So having the expectation that it's going to be a certain thing, and then you try to make it and it's not that way. And then the happiness and joy is more dependent on the fact that you expect a certain outcome of what you're making or creating, in the sense, versus saying, you know what, I'm just going to be happy with whatever comes, whether it's good, bad, ugly. I'm just, and I'm not going to be, happy about bad and ugly, but I am maybe going to say, instead of why is this happening to me, what's the lesson here for me? So, and then the big thing is trust in the mystery, in the sense of when we say, what is the lesson here for me? What you're saying is, I'm opening a dialogue with the universe. I'm opening a dialogue with God, whatever your higher powers that you like to reference. Um, because I know that whatever's going on is for my highest good. Whatever I'm going on is for my highest good. And knowing that from that perspective, it's almost like a burden is lifted, so that you can tune into yourself and say, okay, how do I want to show up here? If this is for my highest good, where can I show up? What is the emotion I want to experience, and where can I find that within the confines of the situation? Right. So, and then here we have skunk coming in again. I think we had know your worth last time too, or in the last 2 weeks. But I think it's really understanding, know your worth. Remember who you are. Remember that you are worthy of tuning into yourself. You are worthy of giving yourself that space, because a lot of times the awareness that we need to have to get to that place of making choices and saying, instead of being like, oh, why is this happening? Giving yourself that space so that you can, take a breath, be in awareness of what's going on, and then shift how you're thinking about stuff. That giving yourself that space a lot of times comes with saying, I'm worth slowing down. I am worth slowing down. I don't have to do all the things. I don't have to please everyone all of the time. In fact, the one way to please more people is to please myself first and be taking care of myself first, because then I can show up in a better space for the ones that I love and I actually do want to hang around. So knowing your worth and giving yourself the self-care, the self-love, the self-time, all that kind of stuff, so that you can show up and be that best version of you, and give yourself that space to make those choices of, I can detach from the outcome of this. I can let go of trying to control this situation, and it's still okay. And I'm worth giving myself the chance and giving myself that permission to be able to do that. So part of like trusting in the great mystery is really knowing your worth. I have value here. I am actually an extension of source energy. And as such, you know, I know my worth, and that worth is priceless. I'm one of those like super, super like rare gems. And because of what I am, a child of the universe kind of thing going on, I know that the universe has my back, and I'm worth allowing that to be. I think that's a biggie, is saying people walk around The universe has my back, the universe has my back, as if it's some kind of external thing. Well, you are the universe. So knowing the universe has your back and knowing you are worthy because you are an extension of the universe, you have your own back. So you don't got to worry about that stuff anymore. And I can just trust and be like carried away on that kind of cloud of the universe, which is awesome. And then I love this one. It's turkey spirit. I know this is so funny. Turkey spirit. Give with gratitude and grace. So give with, and what I feel like that is because I don't know about you, but I love me some turkey. It is delicious. I know that's horrible to say with looking at it right here, but one of my favorite holidays is Thanksgiving because all the good yummy foods are there. And give with gratitude and grace to me is like feed yourself. Be grateful to yourself. Like if you ever go to yoga class, and at the end, a lot of times the yoga instructor, as you're kind of doing your shavasana and you're coming back to the real world, usually the yoga instructor will say something to the extent of, put your hand in heart center and then just thank yourself for the gift of being here for you today. And I think it's so important, especially when we're kind of in that know your worth, trust in the great mystery kind of space, which are the other cards here. I feel like really giving gratitude to yourself for taking on the spiritual journey, which I don't think we do enough for ourselves. And everyone here watching, whether you're live with me or watching the replay, whether it's now or years from now, I feel like we talk a lot about all the work we do and the inner stuff and the shadow work and all of the things. And a lot of times we don't think to even thank ourselves for doing that work, which gives us this lovely expansion that a lot of us start witnessing. So I want you to take this time. Like part of trusting in the great mystery is saying to yourself, you know what? I am so grateful I gave myself permission to show up. I get to show up here and be with myself and hold myself through all of this process and giving myself grace. Because when we start doing that for ourselves, we tend to do it more for others. We get all appreciative of other folks and we give them a lot more grace, but only because we're giving ourselves. Thank you so much, self, for showing up. Thank you so much, self, for being here and holding space for myself and giving myself permission to do all these things and being vulnerable with myself because that's the spiritual journey. It's not you guys being vulnerable with me. I mean, yeah, sometimes in client sessions, most of the time, there's a lot of vulnerability going on, but it's more about you giving yourself permission and having the courage to be vulnerable and honest with yourself about what you're thinking, where it came from, what's going on there, and being in that really super aware space so that you can move your energy where it needs to go and release these old programming or old agreements you've made with yourself based on maybe other people's beliefs, limitations, or fears. And because of that, it holds us back. So, right now, I think when you break those agreements and you break those old programs and you reinstall new programming that does move you in the directions you want to go and just be more of that wonderful version of you that you really want to tap into, what tends to happen is we start to forget that the gratitude isn't to be other places. It needs to come home to you too. Like I love getting emails from my clients. Last week, I got a plethora of thank you emails from my clients, which I love. It makes me feel good. And it kind of reinforces that, okay, I'm on the right path with what I'm doing. And it helps me. And I love that. But at the same time, I want everyone to know that you need to turn around and thank yourself. I think that's the whole message of Turkey Spirit this week. So the main message is I forgot that I knew that the universe has my back, that I need to trust in the magic. I also forgot and sometimes don't want to believe in my own worth because that means that I have to sit down and remember that it's okay for me to do stuff. And it's kind of scary sometimes to sit down with yourself and give yourself permission to be worthy because that brings up some other crap. But if you can just say to yourself without judging and without having any sort of guilt or shame around it, and just say, without shame or without guilt, I'm going to know that I'm worthy because I am an extension of the universe. And I don't need to think further down the road from that. And then allowing yourself to have gratitude and grace right now as you navigate this. Like, thank yourself for saying, I'm going to be here and I'm going to not attach to the outcomes. I'm going to not try and control these external situations. Yes, I will set a container for what I want to be in. Yes, I might give myself a container that just will only hold me because that's where I want to be. And in my head, sometimes I might need to go there, whether it's a physical place or I just need to shut my eyes for a minute. And giving yourself the grace and the gratitude for showing up for you, holding that space for yourself, because that's where you're going to find a lot more peace, and letting go of this other is going to feel good because you're going to say to yourself, okay, if I give myself grace and gratitude, then I give myself permission to let go of any outcomes. I might want to say, like over Thanksgiving, since I'm hosting and we're hosting family, one of my goals is that everybody enjoys themselves. What that looks like for everybody is going to be different. If I like sat it down and was like, we're going to look like something out of like a Hallmark movie, I know for a fact that ain't going to happen because that's not how my family rolls. So it's not even how I roll. I like them, but I mean, I like the movies. I love my family. I like the movies, but I know that they're a movie. And it's to have an expectation and try to control whether or not everyone's happy is not for me. That's not going to make the outcome, attaching to the outcome. If one person says something negative, like, oh, these mashed potatoes didn't come out right this year, or whatever, if I wrap myself up in that, it's just going to cause me some stress and agitation. And that doesn't feel good. And I don't want to do that this year. So this year, my goal for accountability, I'm going to share with you, my goal is just to be more interested in attracting and stating that I decide that this year I'm going to go with flow with ease and grace. I'm going to do what makes me happy. I'm going to intend for anybody who interacts with us or with me that day that they enjoy themselves in whatever way works best for them, and that everybody kind of leaves feeling fulfilled, whether it be a full belly or a full heart or both, and how that shows up for them is great. That's my intention. How that's gonna look, I'm not gonna attach myself to. So that's what I mean when I say setting the intention, expressing your will, and giving surrender or letting go to the universe, where it's like trusting in the great mystery. And I am grateful that I'm gonna show up for myself and give myself permission to not try and control that outcome. I'm gonna do my best, making all the things, and I'm not going to take personally if somebody says, well, this Brussels sprout doesn't taste fabulous. Just say, okay, well, it's probably that Brussels sprout, whatever. And just intend again for everyone to be happy. So this week's cards are trust the great mystery, which is whale spirit, skunk spirit, know your worth, and turkey spirit. Should have been for next week because next week is Turkey Day, but I guess we're doing a lead in. But grace and gratitude. I just feel like these are great cards for this week. And I feel like that message of don't try to control outcomes, more set an intention and then allow the universe to kind of bring it in whatever way is going to make it feel good. So the intention is I want to feel good. I want to do things I love and I want to feel good. And whatever that is, I intend for anyone I interact with to feel the same. That's it. So, not to say I'm perfect. I think we all know I'm not, but I wanted to share that with you. And so I am so grateful that you guys came today. By the way, really quick, I have 3 spots as of right now. I haven't checked email or anything, but right now I have 3 spots left for the 2023 New Year's readings. If you want one, you will need to go and grab it. I think there's a link below, but if you are on my Facebook page, it is you just go to my personal Facebook page, and if you scroll around, it'll have like where there's links. Otherwise, you can go to soulcoachstudio.com, and right there, and it's a brand new website. I haven't really premiered it yet, but right there at the top, it says schedule a session. You can click that and scroll down to the 2023 reading. It'll show you the 3 times that are left, and you are welcome to schedule your session. You get the 14 card reading as well as online with Zoom with me. It's recorded. I send you the audio. I send you a PDF of your card spread, and then I also send you what else? I send you something else. Oh, also, you get to be on the VIP list for next year for 2024, which is the pre-sale which is why now I have 3 spots left. People get 3 weeks before the November 11th reading for the collective that I do every year. 3 weeks before that, the VIP list gets to pick their best spot. So if you book your session this year, you get to have access to the really good spots next year. So I have 3 spots left. Honestly, I don't know when they are. Otherwise, I'd tell you. But if you do go to soulcoachstudio.com, right there, the button that says schedule a reading or a session or something like that, and you click that, it will take you to my calendar, and just scroll to the bottom. I think is where the New Year's reading is, and there's 3 spots. So go grab them. And that would be it for the year. Oh my gosh, right? I cannot believe that. Anyway, I hope you have a lovely, lovely week. I love you all so much. I look forward to seeing you soon. I do have some announcements coming for 2023. I actually need to unbox my new planner so that I can figure out when I'm going to host them. But that's happening this week or weekend as well. And actually, I got 2 planners, which one is the Magic of I, which I have not opened yet. And this is like my business planner. So anyways, I'll probably share those with you guys on a video later. But anyways, once I do that, I will invite you all to in-person and online events, as well as a group experience that I am downloading from Spirits that's going to happen next year. I'm excited about that, but more on that later. So anyways, I love you so much. I hope this was helpful. And if you ever have questions, feel free to message me. I love you so much. Take care. Thank you so much for joining me. Oh, hey, Liz. Hey, everybody. And thank you for being here. And I will see you next week at our regular time, Monday at 11. And thank you so much for giving me the space to move this to Tuesday so that tomorrow didn't feel so crunchy. Thank you guys so much. Love you. I'll see you soon. Bye, y'all. Bye.